afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Topic Time with Harrison Young here at Area 58. I have an awesome guest tonight. He's a musician. He's been in some bands. We're going to talk about that, and we're going to interview him, of course. But before I get to him, got to read these incredible underwriters, and then we will commence per usual. So we have the Riverside Cafe in Wareham, open 6 days a week, all except Wednesday, 7 a.m. to 1 p.m. They make the best breakfast from Boston to the Cape, and they have DoorDash deliveries, and that's in Wareham. We have Equestrians Anonymous right down the road here in Carver on Route 58. Quality used tax, saddles, equipment, show clothing, essentials, and gifts for the horse, hound, and human. We have Outback Arms in Plimpton. They buy and sell new and used guns and ammo. We have RW Carpet and Flooring in Norton, covering floors for 50 years. We have Evan Young Realty. That's my brother, the realtor. We have the Cornerstone Barbershop in Pembroke, and we have Tom Auto in Middleborough. I want to thank you guys very much. And now, Jimmy James, is that's your given name? Or James, or what is it?
Jimmy James is my stage name.
Okay. I'm glad I asked. Okay, well, do you want to give your real name? I'm just curious. If not, that's fine. We'll pass it. Bypass it.
The FBI might be looking for me, so I don't know. No, my birth name is James Broder.
Okay.
But in the 80s, you needed a stage name. You know, I started out in glam bands, and you had the big hair and all that.
Okay.
James sounds more like, hey, we're going to see James Broder, the accountant, you know? So
okay.
Kind of like, we all pick names, and that's what stuck with me.
Okay, I'm thinking of, when I think of James, I think of the James Gang, the song, the group that did that song, You Think You're So Pretty, but, how's that song go? You turn your pretty head and look away. Remember that song? I don't know. It was done in the early 90s or the late 80s.
Mm-hmm.
That was the song by the James Gang, as I recall. Okay. Well, all right. Well, we've been trying to get you on the show for a while. You're kind of nomadic. You're in Massachusetts, but didn't you move to Florida for a while?
Yeah, I was in St. Petersburg, Florida in October, and unfortunately, I was supposed to be there through the spring, but it didn't work out. So I'm back in Massachusetts for now, and I'm working on possibly going back to Nashville, Tennessee for the third time.
Okay, well, all right. Well, tell me about Nashville, Tennessee. What you did the first and second times there?
The first time was awesome, man. 2019, I moved down there, and I'm so blessed that I did, because I still got to see kind of some of the old Nashville, because it's changed so much over the years and stuff. And what was amazing, I'm a singer-songwriter, so I knew I didn't want to go down there to go play on Lower Broadway. And, like, I have buddies that do that play 4 sets, like all these cover songs, and I'm not that guy. I've always been a singer.
You're original, right? Is that what you mean?
Original. Been original since the mid-'80s, Harrison. I will always stay original.
Cool.
And, even like with my original bands, we throw in a couple covers, you make them your own just to give the people something they like. But I'd rather write a song, than just learn. So, because music to me is more about the money and stuff. But I put an ad out in Craigslist Nashville in, 2019, and Billy Lubin answered it. And some people had answered before, and they're like, well, what kind of gear do you have? All these technical things. And one dude just says, we dig your shit, man. Can you come to Nashville? I'm like, that sounds like my guy. And I go look him up, and he happens to be the grandson of Ira Lubin, half of the Lubin Brothers Country Music Hall of Fame. His mom, Kathy Lubin, Grammy Award-winning songwriter for the Stars. So I flew down there in 2019, met Billy, moved into this house with a bunch of musicians, and Billy started taking me to all the places where the songwriters would go, which was, and I got to meet.
Tell me about places. I've never been in Nashville, so what kind of places? Like museums, places where places where they perform.
The places like where was actually in Franklin and Lepus Fork. Kimbrough's Pick and Parlor in Franklin, and Puckett's Lepus Fork at the time. It's called Fox and Locks now. That was the place. They have the songwriter rounds on Tuesday at Kimbrough's, Thursday at Puckett's. And you go there, you got to get there like at 3 p.m. to sign up, because there's only 20 slots for that night, And
okay,
that was the real Nashville to me. That's where people were still going there. They're presenting their songs and stuff. And that's where all the stars live, man. It's like,
well, I know Franklin's where Miley Cyrus hails from.
Yeah, man. It's like at Kimbrough's, you never know who's going to be in the audience those nights. And I got to become friends with a lot of celebrities there, and because that's where they live. They don't go down to Lower Broadway where all the tourists are. That's
okay.
where there's their watering hole. You know, one of my great memories, Puckett's, was I was playing bass for the William Blake band, and my ex-wife Kim was a waitress there, and she was trying to tell me something on stage. I'm like, I can't hear you. So she got done with the song. She said, "Oh, Bill Belichick just walked in." So my heart.
Oh yeah, how long ago? Wait a minute, that was 2019, right?
That would have been with the Bill thing. It was the beginning of 2020. I want to say it was around.
Okay.
But yeah, that was awesome. She was the coach's waitress. I got to meet him and talk to him, and it was cool being from Massachusetts to play in front of the coach.
Yeah.
But no, it's funny, like, to go for 2019. Billy started taking me all these songwriter places, and I just really made a good name for myself. And God, during that time, I got to go down to Gillsburg, Mississippi for the unveiling and the dedication of the Leonard Skinner Memorial. Spent the whole weekend out there. Some of the guys who are older now, they were first responders as kids, took us out to the plane where the plane crashed and stuff, and it was quite a moment. And I was
Wait a
just
minute, plane crash. What? Oh yeah, the plane, Leonard Skinner,
Yep.
right? Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
that. 1977, I believe.
and it was crazy. Crazy, Harrison. Like, people, you can still find pieces of the plane like out in there. It's wild. It's about 400 yards in the woods. I'd never find that spot again the rest of my life. And
Wow.
so yeah, I just kept playing, and was really making a good name for myself. Matter of fact, it was a Thursday night. The house at Puckett's. They were from Tupelo, Mississippi. They said, "We're going home next Thursday. Can you put a house band together for the following Thursday?" I said, "Of course I can," not knowing we were going to have a tornado that Monday in Nashville. And
Oh boy, wow.
by Thursday night, they had put a fundraiser together at Puckett's, and I was the house band. I get off stage, I look up on stage, and there's Naomi Judd and her husband.
Wow.
Was saying I was calling out raffle tickets, Harrison, and I was like,
Okay.
you know, and you're standing there like thinking, like, you know, this is my life. Like, it was really in the story I always tell is my wife was working a Saturday night at Puckett's. She told me Justin Timberlake was outside because his mom lives there in Lepus Fork. He wasn't coming in, so I made my way out there to talk to him. So here I am talking to Justin Timberlake around this fire pit outside, and a couple of days later is when I woke up to the news, said that the world has stopped. You know, the pandemic hit, and
Yeah.
everything I worked for just ended. You know,
Yeah,
and it wasn't because of nothing I did. It wasn't, you know, I'm good at screwing up things, you know, and this was nothing that I did, and that played. It left to my wife and I. We both got jobs working for Amazon down there, and she stayed till April of 2020. I hung out till about June of 2020. Moved back to Massachusetts. Nothing was open. I was delivering food, and you know, through my whole adulthood, I battled with alcohol and drugs, and I really fell back into alcohol during that time period, and got a DUI up here, which I'm hoping to get my driver's license back in October.
Okay.
And the end of 2021, my wife and I separated. I was caught, and my band had a bunch of shows lined up in Nashville in May. Excuse me. So I figured I called it one of my old housemates in Nashville, and my band went down there in May of 2022 to play some shows, and I just stayed there. But I had a separated marriage back home. This was my second time in Nashville. I had I was separated from my wife at home. I had a DUI case I had to come apply for, and I was just drinking my life away down there, and hospitalized twice for alcohol intoxication. Checked myself out both times because I had gigs that night, because that's rock and roll, you know. And it got to the point where it was a Friday night. I was up all night drinking. I called she's my ex-wife now, Kim, back here in Massachusetts. Told her I was going to Lower Broadway to see my buddies play at Kid Rock's. She told me not to leave the house. I went down there, and I remember bits and pieces. I remember sitting outside of Kid Rock's because I was too drunk to stand, and I was thinking about how a few years ago I was playing benefits with Naomi Judd, and now people are having to walk over me and look at this broken man. And so I planned on jumping off of the walking bridge downtown river to end my life, and I passed out on the riverbank, and I flew home 2 days later to going to rehab and stuff. So the second trip to Nashville wasn't too much fun, you know.
I understand, but in a way, it was kind of an awakening for you, though. It was a turnaround. It was sometimes you got to hit rock bottom before you can spiral back up to the pinnacle of success that you seek.
Yeah, and it's so I came back here. Unfortunately, it didn't work out with my wife and I, and it was December 28th, 2020. I went into rehab for a bit, but I came out, and when I knew my marriage was over, and my daughter hasn't talked to me and all this, I rented a motel room on December 28th, 2022. I went to CVS, got razor blades, got drunk, was going to kill myself, and the New Bedford Police. I called my buddies in Nashville to say goodbye, I love you, and I was on the phone with one of my old housemates. Another one was calling the NBPD, and they saved my life. And from there, I went into behavioral health hospital. Went into a rooming house. Then, a sober house. I'm sorry. Then a rooming house, and just started rebuilding my life. And these last 3 years have been awesome, man. This year was a milestone year for me musically, and it's.
All right, hold up a second. Hold up. First of all, I want to make sure that so right now you're feeling good. You wanted to kill yourself twice, and then you held off, and now you don't feel that way, right?
Not at all. Now, share my story.
Okay.
It's pretty cool. Bold Journey magazine did an article on past August. I'll actually send you the link so you can read it, Harrison.
Okay.
My life story. Now I go out and share my story, about that there is hope, you know what I mean? And it's really good because, like you said, these past 3 years, I built my life. I've learned a lot about myself. It's been awesome. And this year I played with Paul Coleman, a Christian artist, at a festival called Soul Fest.
Okay.
28th year of this festival. I took my kids to this festival when they were kids. And now I was the bass player for a Grammy-nominated artist, played the biggest stage of my life, and it was a victory for me. You know what I mean? Because if I would have just stayed in the pit I was in,
I know.
I've never got there. So I feel like, I thank God, and I feel like He's kept me around for a message to share with people that there's hope, and it's sad. I've lost a lot of friends to suicide, and
I know. I've been there too. I've attempted suicide myself a long time ago, and I'm here now doing what I do. So I can definitely relate to that. So,
yeah. Well, I'm glad you're here too, Harrison, because it's like I've had friends.
Tell me about
years.
All right, now you say it's been a really good year for you. Tell me about how it's been a really good year. And obviously, you're still alive, but what about musically? How many bands have you been in, and how did you get into those bands?
Well, we'll go back to the '80s. My first band was
go
ahead. Glam band called Hot Shot, and we did all right, man. It was 4 misfit kids, and we used to play the old living room in Providence, Rhode Island, and the Channel in Boston a lot. And we got the band Extreme numerous times before they were even signed to a label. And
hold up again. Say it again. What band was that you got before they got? What was it? Okay, got it. Okay, go ahead. Keep talking.
And Hot Shot had 2 T's on each name. We used to get so upset when they'd only put 1 T on their flyers. So,
okay.
Yeah, we opened for a lot of national acts. You see a band, Brittany Fox, on MTV on Headbangers Ball, and opening up for them a week. Really cool time to be a musician, because the music industry totally changed. Whatever's left of the music, it's not much. No one's getting rich anymore. No one's buying their mama a house.
Well, that's because everything can be uploaded. You don't have to pay for music anymore.
Yeah, it totally killed it.
Obviously, the artists are getting paid to continue to make their music, but I guess it probably cuts out the people that are, up and comers because it's obvious that whatever music they produce can also be uploaded by anybody that wants to upload it, right?
Yeah. So the only way to really make money nowadays is to go out. You got to go out and play, and you got to sell merch because let's just use Spotify. I don't care if you're Zeppelin or you're me. We each get 0.7% of a penny per stream. I explain it to people, the best way. When people buy a $20 Jimmy James shirt, that's the equivalent of 5,000 streams, man. To $20, Harrison. Yeah, it's pretty sad, you know. And but I'm grateful. Like I said, I got to like experience the '80s, and I feel like I lived in the best of times, man. Musically, Hollywood, everything. Like we really had it, and we got to see. It's declined. Nothing's the same as it was anymore. You know, it's
What you got to do is you got to set a trend. You got to make it better the way you want to make it. That's the way to go right now. You've obviously you've hit an upper crest wave going in the right direction, and now you just got to roll with it and keep it going.
Yeah, and it's like I want to play, and that's one of the reasons I'm hoping to move back down to because there's obviously so many musicians there, and like I said, when I played for Paul Coleman this year, and I got to become friends with a lot of Christian musicians that I've followed for 20, 30 years, it's pretty good, you know, like when you can see I played for a Grammy nominated artist, it's like, I don't want to go backwards either, you know? So I want to see what doors could possibly open. And honestly, Harrison, it's more than the music now for me. It's about the message, you know, it's about, I thank God. I think Jesus said, I'm here and I want to share my story with others because I went from hopelessness to hope. And it's like, is my life perfect? No, far from it. But you know what? I don't pick up a drink anymore. I don't use drugs. On the bad days, it's like, you just know that the sun's going to shine tomorrow type stuff, you know? And
exactly, yeah. I don't use drugs either. I used to use, drink and smoke weed and drop acid and do all that stuff in the 70s. Well, tell me about your history as a kid, though. Where did you grow up, and how did you end up getting into music as a young dude?
I blame Kiss for all of this, man.
Okay, so you're a Kiss fan, and that's when they started about 50 years ago. So I'm guessing that's about how long you've been at it too, right?
Well, it started. I was born in New Bedford, grew up in Lakeville, Mass. For the first 14 years of my life.
Okay, those are pretty nice towns. Well, New Bedford.
Oh, it's awesome. It's where I learned how to skate and played hockey all the way through high school. But anyways, I saw Kiss on the Paul Lynde Halloween special. I think
Paul Lynde, whatever. He was a gay guy and he was funny as hell. I love Paul Lynde, not in a platonic way, but he was a great comedian.
But it's like I saw Kiss, so I had to be 11 years old. I saw Kiss on the Paul Lynde Halloween special, and I'm like, that's what I want to do. And I remember there was this little record store in New Bedford on Purchase Street, where the first version of Purchase Street Records was. And I remember we went in there, and I saw the Kiss Alive album. And next thing you know, Santa put it under the tree.
Okay.
So, Harrison, I would put on air guitar concerts to that Kiss Alive album, man. And in my head, I was in Madison Square Garden, you know. And honestly,
why not some of the New England venues like the Boston Garden or the Centrum?
There's just something about Madison Square Garden.
All right, I get it. I know I get it. Madison Square Garden is magic.
Oh, really?
Magic's in Square Garden. They should call it. I agree.
Good. Okay. Like you over the years, you know, all the bands from overseas, whatever, if they played Madison Square Garden, you did all right, man. You know, and but no, that's all I've ever wanted to do. It was be an entertainer. You know, I don't consider myself a musician, and I know that, and they say, you know, you don't give yourself. I give myself credit for what I do, but I'm an entertainer, Harrison. You know,
you're entertaining the world right now on my show. That's as okay, cool.
Funny of that, and I heard someone say before too about like not always the most talented, greatest musician to ever make it to a higher level, because there's this combination of it. You know, you have to have stage presence and charisma and all. You know, it's like
and luck too, obviously to some degree.
Yeah, and you have to have the talent too. You know, but I think there's just certain like. You know, some guys just have that it factor. You're not saying that I do, you know, but even though Shelby Blackburn, one of my good friends now, told me I had the it factor, which made me happy. She actually, I met her at Puckett Sleepers Fork. She told me, she's like, I stopped coming here, and then you showed up. I was like, this guy has it. She just happens to be Greg Allman's ex and the mother of their daughter.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So when you hear from people like that, it's a good feeling, you know, but with me, it's always humbleness, man. It's like, because I've never liked musicians or anyone in the world with egos and stuff, because if we didn't buy your music, you wouldn't be who you are. So
That's
there's no
right.
act like a jerk, you know?
Did you go to college at all? And if so, where? And if not, that's fine, but I'm just checking all this stuff.
Did I? Yeah, actually, I was good at self-sabotage and everything. I was actually in Bible college in 1998, man. I wanted to go into youth ministry and playing Christian music at the time. And God, probably a month before, it was called International Seminary. I was taking a satellite course.
Where was it? Oh, was it online?
Well, the school's in Texas, and the
Okay.
pastor church I was going to was teaching the course and stuff. But I always found ways to sabotage everything. Then I did like a semester at Liberty University online, which was
Okay.
another school. And my joke with that, I always tell my friends, I'm like, yeah, I got to be in psychology. So like whenever they're talking down on me, I'm like, yeah, I got to be. But it's, yeah, I guess that's my goal in life now, Harris, is to not self-sabotage stuff. I hit 60 years old this year.
Cool. Congratulations.
Thank you. I never thought I'd make it to that. To go back to my childhood, my dad died in 1985 of a heart attack. My mom died in 1990 from cancer, man.
Whoa.
I was just like 22 years old when I was out playing in Boston, and I really got into the sex, drugs, rock and roll thing because I was trying to fill a void, and it didn't fill that void. It always made things worse,
Tell me about you got kids, right? How many kids do you have?
4 kids.
Okay, sweet. Are they all, I assume they're all adults, right?
Yeah, yep. They're all, the youngest just hit 19 this year.
Sweet. And on that note, we're in the final 5 minutes of the show. I hope you had fun talking to me.
Oh, I love it, man. Of course I do.
Okay, so here's what I want you to do in the remaining time. Look at your phone here. Give shouts out to some people that are going to see the show because, when you did the post on Facebook, you get a ton of likes for that, and those are the people who are going to watch it. So give shouts out to them, your kids, your friend, your anybody that's and that you may be friends with in the music industry too. And then we'll wrap the show up with my snap and the way we began it. So go ahead, give some shouts out. Shouts out.
I'll just give like a general, like, I want to thank someone's coach. I want to thank everyone for watching the show today with Harrison Blake Young. It's been an honor to be on here, and hopefully we get to do it again someday. Maybe I'll be back down in Nashville when we get to do this. And I want to thank you all for your continued love and support, and just never give up, man. It's like, I hope with anything that you learn from me that there's always hope. And if you're struggling with addiction, you're struggling with anything, it's just, you can do it. And that's the message I want to share. I love playing music, and but it's more about a message. And I just love all of you, and I feel your prayers, I feel your strength, I feel your support. And make sure you watch Harrison's shows weekly, man. And I want to thank you, Harrison, for having me on.
I want to thank you. I always say it's great guests to make Topic Time Prime, and you certainly are one.
Thank you, bud.
Is there anything coming up on the horizon that you want to mention too? I want to make sure that you don't miss anything. If not, that's fine, but I always check that with every guest before we wrap the show up.
Nothing going on right now, but hopefully, I'll keep you in the loop when things start happening again and stuff,
Okay. All right. I have one last favor to ask. We wrap the show up. You stick around, and my tech guy, Jason, will take a pic for Facebook, and I'll tag you in it. Are you okay to do that?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, folks, we're taking a little break at Area 58 for the holidays, but we'll be back in 2026 with more great Topic Time episodes. So rolling off and signing out, snapping off and signing out.